I feel like I start a lot of Donald Trump stories with just when you thought it couldn't get worse. First, we're going to have an attack on the First Amendment from Donald Trump. Then it's going to get worse from there when we go to his supporters and what they're saying. But first, I want you to understand what the context is. Now, 11 different women have come out and saying that Donald Trump had sexually assaulted them, either by kissing them without permission or sometimes literally grabbing their genitals without permission, just as he said in 2005 on that tape he does on a regular basis. And a lot of these stories are around that time period. So he's furious about this. When asked about it, here's what he says.
Do you think that there's too much protection allowed in the First Amendment?
Well, in England, they have a system where you can actually sue if somebody says something wrong. Our press is allowed to say whatever they want and they can get away with it. And I think we should go to a system where if they do something wrong, I'm a big believer, tremendous believer in freedom of the press. Nobody believes it stronger than me. But if they make terrible, terrible mistakes, and those mistakes are made on purpose to injure people, and I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about anybody else, then yes, I think they should be, you should have the ability to sue them. They can say anything they want about you or me, and there doesn't have to be any apology. England has a system where if they're wrong, things happen.
Okay, oh boy. You know we're in trouble the minute Donald Trump starts saying things like, oh, I'm a tremendous believer in the First Amendment. No one believes the First Amendment more than I do. No one respects women more than I do. Okay, so no, what he's saying is, if you come after me and you're in the press, sure or not, I'm going to come after you. The English standard, by the way, is one I really disagree with. They assume that derogatory statements are false, and it takes it from there. Because of the First Amendment in America, we do not. It is incumbent upon the person, in this case a politician running for president of the United States, to prove that the statements are false, and then they were done with either negligence or out of malice. I think that is the correct standard. That's the American standard. And if you change that standard, yes, you are attacking the First Amendment, and you would change it completely. And here Donald Trump also says, look, every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign. Total fabrication. The events never happened. All of these liars will be sued after the election is over. Imagine he wins. And with all the power in the world, now he's going after all of his political opponents. He said he would already jail Hillary Clinton. Now everyone who's accused him and everyone in the press, he says, well, I'm coming for you, right? When asked specifically about the press reporting on those accusations, he said, we'll find out about their involvement at a later date through litigation. So what, you're going to sue all the major media organizations and you don't respect the First Amendment? If he's not president and he wants to put on a sideshow, have at it. That's what you're good at, putting on a circus, right? If you're president, these are very dangerous ideas and un-American ideas. Okay, speaking of un-American, it gets worse. Now, reporters at BuzzFeed were talking to some Trump supporters, and the Trump supporters were yelling at the press, as their dear leader has asked them to do and encouraged them to do. But listen to how they do that and in which language they do that.
Lugenpresse! You said it right. That's right. We're done. You're all in bed with the twins. You're all bought, paid for. Every one of you. Look at weekend. Not all of them. Down constantly. There's a good one. BuzzFeed loves them. They're nice. Nice people.
Lugenpresse? What the hell is that? I had to look it up. Well, it's in the original German. You know, there used to be that joke of, when Pat Buchanan would say something that was borderline fascist, people would joke that sounded better in the original German. In this case, they've actually gone to the original German. So Jake Tapper tweeted about this and explains what it is. So let's put that up. He says, Lugenpresse means lying press, literally a Nazi-era term. Nazis, the evil forces the U.S. and allies defeated. Yes, to clarify. They're using Nazi terminology to attack the press. Not symbolically, not kind of, literally. They don't even use that word in Germany anymore because of the connotations it has because the Nazis used it. But here, our right wing has resuscitated Nazi language to attack the press. Look, I got 1,000 problems with Hillary Clinton. And I think I've done 1,000 videos of my issues with her. At the same time, she didn't bring Nazis back into power, into popularity in America. I can't believe they're using Nazi terminology. That's so insane. And I don't care what the alt-right says about how they're doing it in an ironic sense. There's nothing ironic about it. You got a bunch of people who are against all sorts of ethnic minorities, including particular religions. They go after Mexicans, they go after Muslims, they go after the powerless, and now they're using literal German Nazi terms to go after the press. So you wonder why we don't want to risk that. You're going to let these guys run the country? Hell no. Hell no. Or in a language they might understand, 999. Okay. Oh, they're like, wait, oh, that sounded good. Okay. Now, Jake Tapper happened to write that tweet, but we all know it. But it's interesting that he did because, Kurt Schilling was on Jake Tapper's program. This happened very recently, and I remember thinking, Jesus, why the hell did Schilling bring this up? This is really weird. Kurt Schilling's the guy who's a right-wing kook, who's, of course, a baseball player, got fired from ESPN because he wouldn't stop tweeting really irresponsible, offensive things about different minorities, trans people, and, of course, Muslims. Ironically, compared Muslims to Nazis. I don't think you've got your sides right. Okay, so... And now Kurt Schilling's been hired by Breitbart. Some believe that it is in preparation for Trump TV, and they need on-air personalities when they launch. But Schilling was on Jake Tapper's program, and listen to the super bizarre thing that he brought up out of the blue.
As a person who's practicing the Jewish faith and has since you were young, I don't understand, and this is the amateur non-politician in me. I don't understand how people of Jewish faith can back the Democratic Party, which over the last 50 years has been so clearly anti-Israel, so clearly anti-Jewish Israel, I mean, I don't know what else would need to be done, said, or happen for people to understand that the Democratic Party is allied with Israel only because we have agreements in place that make them have to be.
Well, I don't speak for Jews, and I don't support the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. I would imagine, just to try to answer your question, that one of the reasons many Jews are Democrats has more to do with Democrats' support for social welfare programs and that sort of thing than it does for Israel. And I know that a lot of Jews who are very strong supporters of Israel do support the Republican Party, but right. I don't speak for Jews, but Kurt
right,
Schilling,
no, and I know you don't. I know you don't. I just always find it a great conversation for somebody of your faith because I want to understand the reasons behind some of those things. So I appreciate that.
I don't find it to be a great conversation, and it came so out of the blue that I couldn't quite piece it together. But now, in regards to all this, it's beginning to make more sense. I don't know if you know this, but earlier in this campaign, some of the right-wing supporters of Trump were putting brackets around names in the press. And the 3 brackets meant that these are Jews. And so be wary of what they're writing because since they're Jews, they can't be trusted. So here comes Schilling on national TV saying, hey, Jake Tapper, aren't you a Jew? Jesus Christ. I mean, really, Kurt Schilling, you couldn't figure out why Jewish Americans vote for Democrats from time to time? You think the only thing they care about is Israel, that they're not Americans? They don't care about other American issues? By the way, Jewish Americans vote generally, historically, about 70% for Democrats. So, I mean, I would believe that Kurt Schilling is monstrously uninformed. But a hell of a thing to bring up while your guys at the same time are chanting Lügenpresse. These are dangerous times, and these are dangerous folks. Don't kid yourself. This is who they are, and it ain't pretty.